New season, new signings. Just like I did in the last video, I'm going to go over one big signing from each team in the league. Now last week I covered all 13 teams in the Western Conference, and in this video I'll be looking at the 14 teams in the East. If you missed the Western Conference video, be sure to check it out on the channel so you know who to look for in the league this year. But for now, let's see what the new faces are in the East this season. To begin, we're going to be looking at Atlanta United. Now, Atlanta had a disappointing 2020 season, so they have been looking for the right pieces to regain their position as one of the best teams in the league. Yes, they didn't have Joseph Martinez up top, and that definitely had an impact on the team, but Atlanta also struggled with creativity from the midfield. So that is where new manager Gabriel Heinze has brought in his new conductor in Santiago Sosa. 20-year-old Sosa came from River Plate, where he managed to make only 21 senior appearances. At River Plate, he was utilized as a deep-lying midfielder as well as a box-to-box. For Atlanta, we can probably expect him to fill in that deep-lying creator role. Sosa was linked to Premier League side Everton not too long ago, so he definitely has some potential for the future. So far, Chicago had a pretty underwhelming offseason. Right now, they only really brought in one player who will be fighting for a starting position. From Ecuador, they signed young right back in John Espinoza. Espinoza has 54 professional appearances at club level and is joining a Chicago team that conceded a total of 39 goals in their 23 league games. Now for the biggest transfer of the year, and it comes from an unlikely source. FC Cincinnati break their transfer record to sign young Brazilian forward Brenner. This $13 million signing is a big gamble, but I'm super excited to see how it plays out. Now, Cincy were absolutely dreadful in the attack last year, and I'm talking only scoring 12 goals in 23 games bad. So, Brenner is coming in with the big price tag and even bigger expectations. The 21-year-old is an absolute beast in the box though, and has capabilities of pulling off some insane goals. Sao Paulo fans loved Brenner, and after he was signed they were sure to show their support for the player. We will soon see if Brenner can improve the scoring on this Cincinnati team and get them to finish above dead last for the first time since joining the MLS. MLS Cup champions Columbus Crew have been super busy adding even more depth to already one of the best teams in the league. This season, the Crew dove into the free transfer pool and managed to pull some big names together to help the team perform in both MLS and CCL. They brought in former Minnesota winger Kevin Molino. Now, Molino had a pretty good 2020 season with 9 goals and 4 assists in 18 games. He especially showed up in the postseason, helping the Loons pass Colorado and SKC with 2 goals in each game. Now, the Trinidad and Tobago International will definitely be in contention for starting spot and brings in the support the Crew were looking for while battling in multiple competitions. DC United are another team without many incoming players ahead of the new season. The most interesting signing looks to be Kemarny Smith, their 4th round pick from the 2021 Super Draft. Smith played for Clemson University and had 26 goals and 11 assists in his 63 appearances. It looks as if he will play the second striker role in this DC United team, but it's still not clear how new head coach Hernan Losada will set up the team. DC scored 25 goals in their 23 games last season. After the 2020 campaign, Inter Miami got rid of 13 players from their roster. That means there was plenty of room to fill for this upcoming year. Along with getting new head coach Phil Neville, the biggest signing for Miami could be Brazilian midfielder Gregore. Gregore is 27 years old and has spent his whole career in his native country. He will now be a reliable fixture in this Miami midfield. Gregore is known to be a very physical presence and should be able to make strong tackles in the midfield and help transition the play into the attack. For a Miami team that struggled with creativity and control last year, Gregore could be one of the guys responsible for making their second year in the league one to remember. Club de Foot Montreal are still working on creating a new identity for their club, and that was once again shaken up after the exit of Thierry Henry. But this offseason, Montreal have been looking for some depth pieces along with a new striker to help them in the attack. Bjorn Janssen has joined the Canadian club from the K-League. And after listening to his interview on MLS's Extra Time, I found out what type of insane career Janssen has had so far. He's played with 8 different teams in 8 different countries, including Norway, Spain, Portugal, Bulgaria, and even South Korea. Janssen at 6'5" is a pretty big striker, but is still mobile. In his interview, he said he's excited to start working in Montreal and is expecting to make this his home. Montreal probably feels the same way, at least for as long as he can perform on the pitch. Nashville have not added too many players that will be featuring in their starting 11, but they did manage to acquire one in Uruguayan winger Rodrigo Pinheiro. The youth international can be utilized on the wings as well as come in centrally. Nashville GM says Pinheiro has the type of pace and creativity that can be lethal in the final third for the team. After garnering the unwanted defensive tag for Nashville, this is a signing that could help head coach Gary Smith achieve the true identity he is looking for. Bruce Arena and the New England Revolution got their business done early this offseason. Before the end of 2020, they announced the signing of 20-year-old midfielder Wilfried Kapteum. Kapteum arrived on a free transfer, but has spent his last 6 seasons in Spain. He started off in Barcelona's academy at 12 years old and played 3 games for their first team. In the 18-19 campaign, he made 15 appearances for Real Betis. Arena expects Kapteum to bring stability and a European experience into the Revs midfield. NYCFC probably still have some more business to complete before the start of the season, but as of now, I think their biggest signing they have brought in is Malte Munson. The 20-year-old Danish right back was signed from the Danish Superliga. Munson is able to work up and down the pitch, serving balls into the attack as well as making the tackles he needs to make in the back. I had some trouble picking out a signing from the Red Bulls this year. They have definitely changed their transfer structure since the days of signing Henry and Kaku, opting now for lesser-known younger players that they can flip to their Red Bull counterparts in Europe. For their biggest signing this season, I'll go with Andrew Gutman, former Celtic player who is now an Atlanta player but played the last 2 seasons at Cincinnati. I know, very confusing about who exactly he belongs to, but what I do know is that he showed some positives during his time with Cincy, and now he will be the starting left back for the Red Bulls. Orlando City SC, former team of Kaká and current team of Nani. They show up once again bringing in star talent from former times, but this time it's in former AC Milan striker Alexandre Pato. I'll be honest here, I'm super excited to see how much more Pato has left and how much he can do for Orlando this upcoming year. Without being on a DP contract, Orlando has a pretty good low-risk, high-reward situation going on here. If Pato can at least find a little bit of the form he had in his younger days dominating Serie A, then he can definitely be a great addition to this Orlando team. After selling a few of their homegrown players over to Europe this offseason, there are now new spots to help maintain depth and keep fighting for trophies in Philadelphia. There have not been many first-team signings, but to help add more players on defense after losing McKenzie, they have signed Stuart Finlay from the Scottish Premiership. Finlay comes to Philly with a decent level of experience, having 144 appearances and having a small bit of international experience with Scotland. And for the final of the 27 clubs we will take a look at, it's Toronto. And what a poor ending to a video that's covering the biggest signings in the league. Toronto have made absolutely no signings of note. The one person joining Toronto this year who will impact the team though is new head coach Chris Armas. After not the most successful 2-year stint at the Red Bulls, we will now get to see what Armas truly wants his teams to play like, now that he's out of the Red Bulls structure. And there it is. Now you know at least one big signing from every team in the Eastern Conference. And if you're lucky and you watched last video, well, you know a signing from every team in the league. I hope you found at least one player that you're excited to see compete in the MLS next year. If there's a player you think I should have mentioned, well, let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.